All right, we've made our way over to Ledyard now for the next spot, and so, Dad, where are we?
Well, this is where my grandparents lived. My grandfather and my grandmother, also for that matter, were the custodians in the Ledyard school, which was just across the street. It's been torn down now, but it was just across the street.
Yeah, well, I'll show you the area of where it was, I guess. It's back there, if you can see through my window. Yeah, torn down. Has been torn down for... What, do you know when it was torn down, Dad? The school?
I have no clue.
Okay.
No idea whatsoever. And this would have been the house that my dad grew up in. Upstairs, it's a little bit hard to see because of the trees, but upstairs there are 2 bedrooms, and there is a big landing at the top of the steps. And Dad's bedroom was at the back. His sister's bedroom was this window in the front.
Okay.
Be my aunt.
What was her name?
Lucille.
Lucille. Okay. And any specific memories that you have in this house?
I can remember coming over, staying with Grandpa and Grandma, and particularly, I don't remember if it was Friday nights or Saturday nights. It's probably Saturday nights.
Yeah.
My grandpa liked watching boxing.
Oh, okay.
And so we always had to watch boxing matches on Saturday night. That's definitely one of the memories that I have. Another memory that I have is a Christmas tree that Grandpa and Grandma always had bubble lights in it.
Oh, yeah.
I am just absolutely intrigued by bubble lights. I love them. I tried to do that with our Christmas tree once, and they stopped bubbling. The kind that they have now apparently aren't as good or whatever, but I love bubble lights.
Yeah.
And that's where my interest in it came from.
Sure. Does the house look a little bit different than it did back then?
Yeah, it does. They definitely have added on. The front window, big front window to the right was not there. Absolutely was not there. In fact, there was that whole room has been added on to. It was just a small entry. I'm gonna say a boot room.
Okay.
Grandpa had his shotguns and rifles out there, and a cedar chest that he put his ammunition in, and some of his other gun cleaning equipment in. There were hangers out there that hung his coats, and they hung their coats and things on.
What sort of people were your grandpa and grandma?
They were where my maternal grandparents were strict. This set of grandparents was very not strict. They just never did anything. They babied us really well.
Yeah. Okay.
Grandma especially. She died of a heart attack when I was still in elementary school when she died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
My grandfather married another lady. She was about as different from Grandma as could possibly be. She was very feisty, very temperamental, and had a temper like you couldn't believe. And one of my favorite stories of her is that she did not like the high school kids parking in front of the house because they would park up into the yard.
Yeah.
So they did that. I think they probably did it because she didn't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she went out one day and opened the car door of one of the cars and shoveled snow in it. That was one of my favorite stories.
That's interesting. All right.
I can tell one other story too, is that I had the very first car that I ever owned was a 1962 Plymouth Belvedere.
Okay.
And I loved that car.
Yeah.
I mean, loved that car.
Yeah.
Probably because it was my first. It had a rectangular steering wheel and push button shift.
Rectangular steering wheel, huh?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
pretty cool. Anyway, when I went to college, my dad refused to let me take it to college. So I had to store it somewhere. So I brought it over here and stored it in my grandfather's garage. But my grandfather didn't go out and start it
Yeah.
very often. Up until that time, it started all the time, no matter how cold, because it had to sit out when I was at home.
Yeah.
My car always started.
Yeah.
Dad's car didn't, and kind of ticked him off. I think he didn't like that. Well, anyway, after it had been sitting here for a year, it didn't start either very well. It was, in fact, I had trouble with it from then on. So I've always been kind of
Hang on here. Sorry.